Good afternoon, colleagues. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. Very good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dr. Prathipan. How nice to finally see you.
Yes, nice meeting you via Zoom today.
Yes, great meeting you. Thank you for joining.
Welcome.
And we'll just wait so that all our other colleagues join.
We can wait until all of them join.
Okay, these are colleagues from Wellassa University.
There are two from Wellassa University. So far now, there will be another two from Wellassa.
Okay.
All others are from University of Colombo.
I see. Okay. Just for me to conduct the meeting, if colleagues, you can just identify which university you're from.
First PK is Manadunga. She is from University of Colombo.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Good evening. I'm Manadunga Kalpana. I'm from Colombo University.
Yeah, all right.
And Kumari Kuladunga. She is also there. She is Dr. Kumari Kuladunga from Wellassa University.
Okay, right.
And Miss Dilhani, she is from Wellassa University.
And we have Sakina Ali Khan from University of Colombo.
All right.
And Mr. Ramanan from University of Colombo. And
we're actually going to have a round of introductions during the meeting, but I just wanted to have an idea of where, because my email interactions have after all been with just a few of you, not with all of you, unfortunately. So Dr. Sakina Ali Khan is from the University of Colombo, right?
Yes, sir. Miss Palika Vidana, she's from Wellassa University.
All right. Okay. Good afternoon, Miss Palika.
Hello, sir. Namaste. I am Dr. Kumari Kulatunga from Wellassa University.
Yes. Good evening, ma'am. Good evening. Thank you. Very nice to know that you've been able to make time to attend. And all right. Our colleague, Mr. Ram from the University of Colombo, has just let us know that the librarian, Dr. Vijay Tunge, will probably join us a little later after another meeting ends, right?
We are muted.
We'll just wait a few more minutes and then begin once a few more colleagues have joined. Good afternoon, Professor Vasantakumara.
Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Anirban.
Hello, good afternoon. Very nice to meet you here.
Okay, you too.
All right. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is
Thank you so much for
joining?
joining.
You are waiting for some others?
Yes, we're just waiting for a few others.
Okay.
And also, in fact, my own NDLI colleagues who will be joining just now.
Yeah, I think our Vice Chancellor also may join depending on this schedule.
I see.
Probably I have to check whether he's available maybe for a brief session. I don't know. I'll check with him.
All right, sure. No problem. We'll take that.
And also for the introduction, do you grant permission to share a PowerPoint presentation?
Yes, sure. I mean, the perspectives of universities, we have 10 minutes per university, so you're free to use a PPT then.
Yeah.
Good. Am I audible on it, one?
Oh yes, Professor Das, you are now.
Okay.
You are.
So we are waiting for. I mean, it's still not time. Yeah. Let's
Yes,
wait
just 2 more minutes. I think
sure.
one or two more colleagues may join, and
sure.
Well, actually, we do have colleagues from all the 4 universities, so we could actually begin our meeting. Right? I think we have. Yes, we
Yes,
do. Right.
There are representatives from all 4 universities.
Yes, we do. I was just checking that. All right. In that case, a very good afternoon to your colleagues, and a warm welcome to this introductory meeting between 4 universities in Sri Lanka and the National Digital Library of India. As you know, we have. I'm sorry.
Good afternoon to you too.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon. So, as you are probably aware, we have with us representatives from the Southeastern University of Sri Lanka, from the Universities of Colombo and Ruhuna, and also from Wellassa University. So, it's a pleasure to finally meet all of you after all the emails that we have been exchanging. And to give you a very brief background to today's meeting, in January of this year, NDLI, as part of its regional outreach program within South Asia, began interacting, and we began writing to the vice chancellors of major universities in Sri Lanka. Our aim, of course, was to initiate institutional collaborations between NDLI and these universities related to digital library development and use. So in this context, we happened to write to the honorable vice chancellors of your universities, and they were actually very, very prompt and positive in their response. And soon after that brought us into contact with you, with about 4 or 5 of you, who were then designated as the focal points with whom we could work to take this proposed engagement forward. So that is really what brings us to this meeting this afternoon. Now, most of you have probably had a chance to take a look at the agenda that we had sent you. As you will have seen, there are 3 main segments to the agenda. We would like to begin with an overview of the NDLI to give you a better idea of what the National Digital Library of India is all about, really. Next, we'd like to hear from you, your thoughts and perspectives about how you think you would like to collaborate with us, areas you have in mind where we could work together. And finally, of course, there will be an interactive session, which is a group discussion, during which we can build on some of your ideas, take them forward, address any queries that you may have, and discuss how we can actually begin this engagement. All right. So before we begin the more substantive part of the meeting, it would be very nice to have a very quick round of introductions. So if we could begin with our colleagues from the Southeastern University of Sri Lanka, beginning with Mr. Rifauddin, just a few very quick introductions, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Rifauddin. I'm the University Librarian of Southeastern University of Sri Lanka. And also I am the person for the institutional repository. Do you expect me to introduce a little bit about repository, or that part we will have it later?
We will come to that a little later. Yeah, this
Later,
is more of introducing yourself, really.
Yeah, okay. I'm very delighted to to collaborate in NDLI, and I'm happy to have a meetings via Zoom. Thank you so much for arranging this.
Thank you, Mr. Fauddin. Is there anyone else from your university? Mr. Sajid is not here.
Mr. Sajid, I
yes,
think
he's
he
here.
has joined. Yeah.
Yes. Mr. Sajid, a quick sentence or two from you. All right. The mic seems to be on mute. We will try and come back to you. In which case, the University of Colombo team, Dr. Pradeepa Vijayatunge herself will probably join us a little later. But would any of her colleagues like to introduce themselves, please?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, here Sakina Ali Khan, working as an assistant librarian. Currently, I'm reading the Master of Library Science. Thank you. Okay. I'm University of Colombo. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. And Dr. P.K.S. Manathunga?
Yes, I'm Mrs. P.K.S. Manathunga. Senior assistant librarian, and I'm the one who is handling the institutional repository at the moment.
All right. Thank you. Is there anybody else from the University of Colombo?
Yes, we have Mr. Ramanan.
Yes.
Okay.
I am Ramanan, senior assistant librarian. I recently joined the Colombo University's library. I mean, actually, I'm in charge of faculty of technology. Thank you.
Okay. All right. All right.
Hello.
Thank you.
Hello.
In that case, yes.
I'm Chiranti Vidyasundar, working as a senior assistant librarian at the same university.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Thank you, ma'am. We will then move on to the University of... Yes, Mr. Sajid. Yes.
Yeah. I'm Aslam Sajid, assistant network manager for the Sri Lanka library.
Okay, thank you. We will then move on to the University of Ruhuna. Professor Vasanta Kumara, if you could introduce yourself and your team.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nirban. So my name is Vasanta, working as a professor in plant pathology, but my current position is the director of the Center for International Affairs, University of Ruhuna. I think today we are joining our library, librarian and also senior librarians, and also Mr. Chandana. They will probably introduce themselves after this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are they here? Are your colleagues here?
Yeah, they are here.
Yes, please go ahead then.
Mr. Nimal.
I'm an acting librarian. Nimal Hettiarachi.
Right. Okay, thank you, sir.
I am Kusala Fernando, senior assistant librarian, and I am the in charge of the institutional repository of the university. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kusala. And well, finally, of course, the team from Wellassa University, led by Dr. T. Prathipan.
Very good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anirban, for initiating this important project. I am Dr. Pradeepan, working as a assistant acting librarian. Very good connection with India. As I did my postgraduate degree at University of Madras, India, I have been there for 2 years, during 2009 to 2011. So I'm really happy to collaborate in this important event. Thank you.
Thank you. And your team members, if they could also introduce themselves.
I am Dr. Kumari Kulatunga, working as a senior assistant librarian. Actually, I am very much happy to see you people in Delhi because I have studied in Delhi University and very happy to see you.
So your university seems to have quite a strong India connection.
Yeah.
Sorry?
That
you
our
have a strong connection to India already.
Connection.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Is there anyone else from your university?
Yes, Miss Palika Vitana.
Okay.
Miss Palika?
Yes, I'm Palika Vitana, State Assistant Librarian at Wellassa University.
Okay, thank you. All right. In which case, we can now proceed to the meeting itself. And we'd like to begin. Well, I'd like to request my senior colleague, Professor Parthapratim Das, to make the opening presentation. Oh, well, actually, before that, we should introduce our NDI colleagues themselves. All right. So sorry, Professor Das, a few words about yourself. And then our other NDLI colleagues.
Good afternoon, everybody. Really nice to see you all.
Could you please mute your mics, those who are not speaking at any given time? Yeah.
So most welcome to this session. I am Professor Parthapratim Das. I'm actually a professor of computer science with Indian Institute of Technology at Kharagpur.
Mr. GC Kumara, we would request you to mute your mic, please.
So I have been associated with this project since the very beginning in 2015, and I'll give a brief overview on that. Certainly, I do not have any formal background in library science or information systems, but I come from the computer science perspective of it, and we have tried to build this up over the last 6 years. I'm the joint principal investigator of this project, and I report to our principal investigator, Professor Parthapratim Chakraborty. He has the same name, a different family name only. He was our last director, and I report to him. So I think I'll let others introduce themselves from the team.
Thank you very much, Professor Das. And now, Nand sir, if you would like to introduce yourself, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. Very nice to see such a good crowd in this. We heard their introduction also. My name is Nanda Gopal Chattopadhyay. In short, I am known as Nand. I coordinate this National Digital Library of India project. So you can see me in every activity almost, though I do not hardly do any work kind of thing, you can say. So if you have any query anytime going forward, you can always address to me also, in addition to Anirban. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And Ananya, if you'd like to say a few quick words.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Ananya Guha. I'm with NDLI since 2017. I'm here taking care of the user communication part. That's all. Over to Ananya.
Okay, thank you, Ananya. And several of you have had I've had a chance to interact with several of you already. My name is Anirban Sarma. I look after the international partnerships and outreach for NDLI, which is basically our relationships with institutes outside India. And I've been with the NDLI for almost exactly a year now. And before this, I was with UNESCO for 8.5 years. So now that the introductions are over, I will request Professor Parthapratim Das to make the opening presentation about the NDLI.
Excuse me, sir. One of our staff member is also there, Miss Dilhani.
Please go ahead.
Oh, yes. Did we miss her? Okay,
yes, Miss Dilhani.
Right. Miss Dilhani? All right. Well, she's messaging us, so that's all right. Fine. You know, there will be interactive sessions afterwards during which we'd be happy to hear from everyone. Let us perhaps begin with the presentations. Professor Das, over to you.
Thank you, Anirban. Let me start by sharing the presentation. Here, is it visible?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So welcome everyone. Again, this will be I'll try to keep this short because we would like to more know about your universities and ways of going forward. So National Digital Library of India is a project by our Ministry of Education. It comes under a National Mission on Education through Information and Communication Technology. And as I said, this project started in April 2015. So just to give you a little background on why this project and what we have been trying to do is basically to cater to, if you look at any country, I mean, whether it's India, it's Sri Lanka, it's any other, what we need today is a quality lifelong education and knowledge for anyone, anytime, anywhere. You know, this has become a ubiquitous requirement for everyone. And the effective use of digital technology can address this need. So we need to build a digital knowledge repository or a digital library. As a principle, it needs to be open and inclusive. Open in the sense that it must be possible to access most of the content without any restriction. That is open access to content, which all of you are aware of. But it needs to be open in every other respect also, like built on open source software, available openly for its technology and so on. So that has been that is a required motto for a digital library today. The other motto is it has to be inclusive in terms of levels of education, whether KG to PG, as we say, whether it's a even younger than KG, it could be that whenever someone can start interacting to the school life through college education, post-graduation, research, lifelong learning. So it should be inclusive of every level of education. It should be inclusive of all disciplines of education, all subject areas, all aspects of the economy, inclusive in terms of languages. I mean, countries like India speak, as you know, 22 official languages. So this kind of openness and inclusiveness are a priority in terms of the motto that NDLI or the perspective of NDLI was built into. So with this, we got started with the specific objectives of building a 24/7 enabled infrastructure, which anybody can access, search anytime through a single window interface, covering all academic levels, all disciplines, all languages, covering all domains of industry, economy, and as well as culture. I mean, for countries in South Asia, culture is a big component, as you all know. This is naturally so much of digital knowledge cannot be acquired and accumulated at one place, that those days of accumulation are gone. So what the model that we work on are federated models where the contents are contributed by different source institutions across India and other countries. And we harvest metadata, information about this content from them through server protocols, and put them in the library so that the user can search those contents and then appropriately go to the source to get the full text at the required time. Naturally, it needs to provide for interfaces in local languages, several of them for India, for immersive e-learning environment with major focus on learning contents and so on, and naturally inclusive and equitable access of knowledge for everyone. So I just talked about this. Project by Ministry of Education has about 46 million open contents covering about 400 languages. So obviously there are contents of different languages in India, and I'm sure those will cover the languages that Sri Lanka also use. But besides that, there are contents for a lot of foreign languages and several million users using this. IIT Kharagpur from the very beginning has been entrusted to build this library So we have been doing this since 2015. And this is in summary of what we have been trying to do is single window search, diverse academic levels, different focus group collections, multimedia contents, not only text like PDF books and papers, but videos, audios, image, simulation, local language interface in 10 languages, and meant for schools, colleges, universities, R&D institutions, and lifelong learners, and so on. So this is kind of just to give you a view of the kind of the range of contents. If you look at the top, there are typical contents that are used in institutions like schools and higher education board, like lecture slides, videos, class notes, question papers. Very important. I mean, students are always after question papers, model answers, solutions, term papers, ideas for hands-on experiment, lab experiments, case studies, and so on. On the other side, on the research and professional institutional level, there are, just one second. There are different kinds of faculty publications, ETDs, electronic thesis dissertation, books, periodicals, reports, and so on. So primarily that comes from research and professional institutions, central state universities, and so on. And there are a variety of institutional and open contributions that we try to show at the bottom, which has really takes it beyond a physical library because, for example, data sets. As we all know today, that data has become a major part of education, a major part of research. Data science is ruling in every discipline, whatever it is. So data sets are a major component of contents for us, benchmarks, models, going beyond in cultural aspects, manuscripts, paintings, sculpture, music, dance, drama, I mean, all kinds of. So it's a very wide range of contents open to every kind of content, so to say. So it's naturally growing, building up. So here's some, rough breakup of the contents, like about more than 26 million contents are over technology. Naturally, we are a technology institute, so we have been we managed to be a little ahead on that, but there are several in terms of natural sciences, physics, chemistry, mathematics, and all, about 10 million, and several similar quantity in terms of social sciences, literature, history, philosophy, religion, language, and those kinds. So there's a huge amount of free and open contents already collated. Naturally, I talked about the openness and open practices of NDLI. So besides the general open principles, there is also a nationally licensed content concept from NDLI, where the content that are otherwise subscribed are available through NDLI for free, because government makes certain bulk subscription on behalf of the users of NDLI to the content source. So these are some of the major aspects of NDLI. There is personalization that we look at, that is kind of trying to give a query answer to someone based on the background of that person. So this is a very interesting aspect. So let me talk a minute on this. Let's say two people are looking for magnetism, information on magnetism. So one is a 7 or 8 standard student, and another is a doctoral aspirant. Now, a 7 or 8 standard student, when she is looking for information on magnetism, naturally she is looking for the basic definition, properties of bar magnet, the poles, like similar poles repel, and all those kind of things, the basic structure of the magnetic field. Whereas a doctoral student is looking for more of the recent publications in Nature or a physics review letter, and this kind of, and kind of the unification of the field theory and so on. Now, if you do this search in Google, you get more than 2 crore contents, but certainly in the first couple of pages, none of these will get appropriate content for neither for the 7th, 8th standard nor for the doctoral aspirant standard, because you'll get a mixture of things there, possibly, except for the Wikipedia article on magnetism, there's nothing that could be somewhat relevant to this. So we are working on personalizing these kind of services that is based on the previous use pattern of the user. We try to learn a hypothetical model of the user and fine tune the search better, so that the 8th standard student, when she searches with magnetism, more of say 7, 8 to 9, 10 kind of educational level contents come up, whereas the doctoral aspirant, when he searches for magnetism, more of the research level, career development level of contents come up. So these are some of the openness and open practices that we are trying to build upon. Naturally, metadata is at the core of it. I mean, it's very comfortable that I'm talking to a large group of library science people, and I don't need to explain what is metadata. There are several standards, as you know. NDLI follows a standard which is not a new one, but we kind of made a virtual profile-based standard. So we use Dublin Core, a part of Dublin Core, not the whole of Dublin Core, but a part of Dublin Core which is relevant for us as a profile to identify a content. We use part of LRMI, Learning Resource Metadata Initiative of IEEE, a part of it for the educational aspects like educational level, learning time, pedagogic objective, or say the difficulty level of a content and so on. We use a profile of from Shodhganga, which is India's own standard for ETDs, for managing our, of course, again, there too, we just take a subset. So the whole idea is whenever we need to integrate content of certain types which need special metadata, we identify the international standard in that, take a subset, make a profile, and integrate it into our virtual standard. So that itself is a very interesting work that we have been doing. You can go to our project website and get some more idea about that. This is a basic integration process I talked of, the federated process. So here's NDLI, and for whether it is different kinds of repository partner institutions who have kindly consented to share their content with us. So the metadata of those contents are harvested into our central repository, which is kind of 4.6 million open content records now. And the search actually happen on this central repository. And then when a particular content is to be accessed, the request goes to the respective source. The respective source's name is shown, and then the content is accessed. So this is the library can be accessed both on the internet. This is the left part view, and on the mobile, either Android or iOS. So that also has access. It's free for everybody. Everyone is requested to register with an email that improves personalization, that makes features better workable, but you can search and use the library even without a registration. So there are a variety of services available. I think what I can do for very briefly is stop this presentation and just walk you through the couple of basic features of this library from the live site. Just give me a second to pull up the site. And I have it now. So I'm now sharing the live site with you. I hope this is visible, right? Anirban, is it visible?
Yes, it's visible.
It's visible.
Okay. So this is the site on the internet, and you can see that on top you have the prime functionality of the single window search and browse. So you could search or browse there. The search window is here as well. You can set an interface language here. We have 10 languages, 10 most spoken languages of India. Hindi, Bangla, Assamia, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Gujarati, and so on. And here's a search box, and there are collections. So let me just give you a quick kind of demo since we are talking with magnetism. Let me show with magnetism itself. So I'll just try to search with magnetism. and see what comes up in terms of this. What comes up is this kind of a result view, the list of items. This by per se is not very useful. It is kind of the Google-like result, which is about 12 lakh results came up. Of course, 12 lakh results nobody can do anything about. But what is interesting and which makes the National Digital Library of India is very unique, that on the left, you see a number of refinement filters, which are based on variety of metadata. For example, I can go to educational level and click, and I see how these contents are distributed over different educational level. So let's say from this, I choose 9 and 10, suppose. As I choose 9 and 10 on the right, now I see only contents which are applicable, which are suitable for 9 and 10. So I see 1061 contents. And every content has a basic description, the name, the source that it came from, the levels for which it is appropriate, and the openness of that content. How open is that content? So let me, I can probably try to go to this content and show you more. So this is what came up from a search of magnetism at 9-10 level. And here is where you can actually access the content. And you can see that we are showing, let me cross, we're showing the actual page of the source in here, so that the user gets to know who the source is, gets confidence in terms of that, as well as the source can get appropriate credit. On the right, you can see a hierarchy of contents within which this is organized. The CK12 physical science middle school quiz and test. Within that, you have magnetism assessment, and one such assessment has come up. So now people can actually access it, and it will come from CK12. There's another tab which talks about the metadata. So this is the kind of metadata that helps do all those kind of filters, like the source name, the content type, it is a text, the date created, language, the subject domain. This is we follow 3 levels of DDC, Dewey Decimal Classification for subject. Variety of keywords that are associated with this content. The educational level, I filtered on 9 and 10, so I got this, but this content is appropriate for 5 to 8 as well. So you see that level as well. And it's a learning resource type. This is an exercise type of content. And in terms of access restriction, you can see this is a green open locks, is open and free content to be used. So in this way, you can not only get the content, but you can get a lot of information about the content. You can have multiple filters. For example, let's say, I don't know if I can apply, say, a filter on, say, Hindi, let's say. So now I have 39 contents which are in 9 and 10 level and are in Hindi. I mean, this is, I'm still using English interface for this, but these contents are contents in Hindi, and they give you the basic, information of where it is coming from, what kind of content it is, and the access restrictions. I can look per se at access restriction. Of course, whatever I have chosen here is all completely open access. So let me show you that there could be contents of other kinds also. For example, I have 4. I'm gone back to just filtering 9 and 10, 1061 contents, of which 1057 are fully free, whereas there are 4 contents which are authorized, which means that you need some kind of a, separate login to be done to access that content and so on. So these are the various kinds of ways you can filter the contents and refine the results and really get to your kind of content requirements. You can filter through source. You can see how many contents are coming from which source and so on. You can, on the right, you have the content type. You can just click on video so that you look at only the videos in the collection. So it's magnetism with 2051 results, all of which are videos, and at educational level 9 and 10. So there are 307 such contents. So these are videos at 9 and 10 level about magnetism, relating to magnetism, that are available. So These filters are the power of National Digital Library of India. So this is about the search. There is browse. You can browse by different ways. For example, type, subject. This is about the content type. That is what kind of content, text, video, etc. You can browse by subject, which is 3 levels of DDC classification you can browse through. You can browse by source, which is very, very interesting, is all partnering organizations who are with, who has been in, contributing contents. Their names are listed, and you could decide that, okay, I want to look at contents from American Society of Civil Engineers only. So you get to see those contents. And then on left, you have further refinements that you can do. So this is search and browse. You can also browse by learning resource type. What kind of learning resource? Is it a question paper, is it an audio lecture, and so on. Now, this is the primary central functionality of the National Digital Library of India. And then there are several collections which provide services. For example, I could take you to CBSE examination preparatory. Of course, as the name suggests that, the group from where this comes, study at home, you'll be able to immediately realize that these collections were created during particularly the pandemic time, when all institutions got closed and people needed contents to study. So CBSE is our largest central board for class 10 and class 12. And we created this preparatory, and here, as you can see, we are following a different structure. You can see the content by source, who is providing it, different government bodies. We have several Kendriya Vidyalayas, who are very active in terms of content generation, digital content generation, and different NGOs, which are like Khan Academy Universe, which provides a lot of content in free, or companies like Baiju or Vedantu, who are actually commercial but have some contents in the free domain, and so on. Or you could switch to looking at the content type, whether you want to look at question papers. You can go to question papers and see that, well, what are the question papers you have? You again have filters for subject, filters for source, and so on. So these are different from the original in the sense that these collections are built keeping certain groups of users, or groups of or a certain category of use in mind. For example, you could go to engineering and see a collection for engineering studies. There is, discipline-specific collections, and there are collections of common subjects. In engineering, obviously, some subjects at the basic level are common to all. We have a great collection of videos by our NPTEL Swayam program. You may be aware of that, which creates a whole lot of videos, courses by renowned professors, and show you all of that. So you see the structure of that on the right in terms of the hierarchy that is going on, and then you can specifically go to a particular content, and I can open that content. These are all open contents. And certainly you have the metadata corresponding to it. But the core idea here is that the collections are organized in terms of, say, the engineering studies. So several of these collections have been created for engineering, science, school studies, humanities, literature, and so on. There is a big group of collections for COVID research, not only research in medical science, but research that have been engaged by the users in terms of COVID-related impact. So the publications, the data sets, the documents, videos, journals and conferences where it can be published, ideas and funding, and so on. And there are featured collections like, you may be aware of the name of this person. I'm not sure, but it's a different language. So he used to make films in Bengali, and he was given an honorary Oscar for lifetime achievement. So his birth centenary is happening now. So he wrote the manuscript for 38 films. And those manuscripts are very uniquely written. They don't follow any particular grammar of cinema making, but it's more like written by in his own style with annotations of music notations, with costume pieces and so on. So all those are, available here in National Digital Library of India. And I'm very proud to share that this is the only place in the world where this collection is available. It's a great resource for cinema lovers, for researchers, and so on. So in this way, there are different kinds of featured collections on this day and so on, talks, seminars. So this was just to give you an idea of, how does the library feel like in terms of this. So let me go back and to the presentation. I think these slides I will skip because I've talked about in the demo in terms of what all, this is about the COVID research I talked of. So this is basically, obviously we'll send you the presentation, so you can refer to that, show it to your colleagues. This is cultural and documentary heritage. I just talked about this manuscript of Satyajit Ray's films, but there's a wide variety of cultural heritage contents that are available. And we talked about the featured collections. Now, naturally, when you do a thing as scale, naturally you accumulate some accolades. So the project has also been fortunate to get recognition from time to time, 2 of them coming late last year during particularly this award, Open Education Award, was specifically focused for our reaction to COVID-19. We run several outreach and promotion channels. Of course, you can understand that because we're reaching out to you, Anirban and others, Anuna, they all lead this. We have a strong presence in social media. We have clubs for interaction between users. We have regional centers in Northeast and South in Chennai. And we publish newsletters, calendars regularly and so on. Naturally, there are some international partners and outreach. We work closely with UNESCO, with the Right Statement Group in SEMCA, Wikimedia. These are some of the strong partners besides Library of Congress, New York Public Library, Trove, and so on. Regarding the engagement, I think I'll leave this slide. This is on Anirban's domain rather. I think I have taken more than the allotted time. I would rather conclude now saying that, well, in NDLI, we are open and inclusive, and it's a real privilege to be able to include the SARC members in our effort and to be able to learn, share, and grow together. And in the words of our great poet, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where the knowledge is free, is where NDLI will like to take everybody to. Thank you very much for your attention. If there are questions, I would be happy to take. Over to you, Anirban.
Thank you very much, Professor Das, for that presentation. In fact, this helps us move on to the next segment of our meeting today, which is the perspectives from universities themselves. So now, colleagues from Sri Lanka, now that you actually have a better idea of what the NDLI is and how it works, we'd like to hear from you about how you think we might be able to work with you and collaborate together. What are the areas in which we could work together? And of course, in the process of telling us that, you might also like to tell us a little about your own library infrastructure at your universities, particularly with reference to digital contents, digital collections, and the digital repositories that you may have built, right? So we'd like to have 10 minutes per university here, right? And in that time, if you can touch upon your ideas for collaboration, as well as the status of your library collections and digital repositories, that would help us get an idea about how, we can find common areas for collaboration, really. So since we are going in alphabetical order, once again, we would like to begin with the Southeastern University of Sri Lanka to make the first, presentation about university perspectives. So if I may invite Mr. Rifauddin, the librarian of SUSL once again, to speak a little here. Mr. Rifauddin and Mr. Sajid.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Anirban, for giving me this opportunity to talk about you. And I have been listening to the lecture by Professor Partha Das. It's really wonderful presentation, and the way he presents is very nice. And the NDLI is, it's amazing, and it's a very rich resources, and targeting every segments in the education sectors. Thanks a lot for this NDLI and people who are working for giving us these sort of opportunities for us also to partnering with you. And actually, I have not prepared the formal presentation because I didn't know. But anyway, I will talk about my university a little bit, and then I will discuss the about institutional repository. The Southeastern University is situated in the eastern coastal part of the Sri Lanka. It is in the Ampara district. And this university has 6 faculties: engineering, applied sciences, management and commerce, technology, and Islamic studies, and faculty of arts and culture. So basically we have social sciences and the science and technology and management. This, except medical faculty, I think it covers many areas. The repository is it's about 6 years old, and initially we have started building our repository with Greenstone Digital Library software, and then 6 years before we have switched on to the DSpace software. And the repository it has mainly we have the in the DSpace. Can I share this? And can I share? And
yes, please, certainly.
Yeah.
Yes, share rights are given to everyone. Please feel free to share.
This is our e-repository. This one is mainly we have the 2, we have categorized all the intellectual contents of our faculty publication. One is research publication, other one is thesis and dissertation. And the research publications mainly cover the university journal. The university published 6 journals, and annually we are having international conferences. So this subcommittee having the proceedings and the convocation address, and as well as the article authored by SUSL academics. That means our academic staff members who have published their works in other journals other than our university journal. Those are in a different category. Right, and then you can have a look the thesis collection. We just started building the collection, and also we have another. This is for the intellectual, shall I say, the intellectual capital, intellectual contents of mainly our faculty members, as well as the thesis and dissertation. And there is another one, but this collection consists of not only in English. We have the collection in Tamil and Sinhalese. Tamil and Sinhalese are our mother language, Sri Lankans, as well as as we are having in the Islamic Studies faculty, we have some collection in Arabic also. So we have English, Tamil, Sinhalese, or in Arabic language. We are maintaining another the string of the repository. Maybe this may be the something unique to our repository. And
yeah, your mic went mute for a second, sir.
Oh, right.
No, you're back on. It's working again. Yeah.
All right. Okay. These collections are unique collection. First, we are having the university archives. So these are university archives. It consists of the annual reports, the convocation address, some souvenirs. These are just started building the collection. We want to have some pictures, audios, and videos. Anything about the university. There are some historical importance, the records, videos, audios, and we wanted to have it here. There's another collection, unique collection, the rare materials. And this is another collection on rare material. In the rare material, we are much concerned about the copyrights. And in our university library, we have some small archive, university archive. And mainly these are some historical and cultural aspect of the contents. We would like to have it here. And this is another collection. It's related to our faculty of Islamic Studies and Arabic language. It's called Islamic Heritage Collection. This collection, this is a unique collection. This is called Arabic Tamil collection. We call it Arvi, and this now people are now no more. They are not writing no more, and you can those days people use the Arabic alphabet to write Tamil. It's like transliteration, but they have a standard fonts and they use Arabic alphabet. Those days, the people they don't know, they can't write it in Tamil, but they know Arabic. Those people of this region. So I think in India also this is there, Arabic, and Malaysia, some other countries, this is there. This collection have some books 200 years, 150 years old collection. We have digitized and uploaded in the archives. We call it archive. It's an archive. There's another collection is folklore collection. Every country, they have their own folk song as well as folk, how do you call it? Folk stories, right? So in Sri Lanka also is a very rich in culture. And so this folklore collection, we just started building the folklore collection. And you see, this is in Tamil. This is in Tamil. You can have the here the text and audios together, text file and audios together. So this is very, our repository is in infancy. It's not a very kind of highly developed and sophisticated the repository. It's a basic repository. Actually, we need to have collaborate and partnering with NDLI for developing this repository, because we know only little about this, this technology and the digital library. And by looking at the NDLI, your repository is highly advanced, I think. Amazing, right? So we don't know how to have this kind of platform. For example, audios, videos together, and text together. Those things, I think we are not much aware about this. And so we need to have a partnering with NDLI and to while sharing our our metadata and contents with the NDLI, and we also would like to get some more training opportunities and to advance and develop further the repository. Thank you so much. If you have many queries, you can ask it.
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for that presentation.
That is just wonderful. Actually, just to share my mind, I said I'm a computer scientist. So in 2014-15, when I got the charge and started on with this, I was really scared. I did not even know what an IDR meant at that time. I did not understand what is Dublin Core. So we learned our way through, and as we learned from several similar digital libraries all across the world. And as we saw that there is a need for this knowledge collaboration also very much, where we can, share the know-how between us. And you are on a very standard platform. You are on DSpace. So actually we can get started by integrating with you immediately. And we have, talked to about 2,000 librarians over a period of 2.5 years in India, over some 35 webinar, 35 workshops. We could also do some for the Sri Lankan partners for that, and help you build this up more, because that's the only way to go forward. Thank you very much. It was really nice to know of the reaches that you already have.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mr. Rifauddin. This was a wonderful presentation. And we will now move on to the University of Colombo. Dr. Vijay Tunge, have you been able to join the meeting? I'm not sure if she's here.
Anirban?
Yes.
Yeah, Dr. Pratibha Vijay hasn't finished with her her meeting, but I would like to
absolutely
on behalf of her.
Please, yes, I was about
although
to say.
I'm new and the in charge of the IR institutional repositories, Mrs. Manatunga, I would like to ask some, or maybe a kind of request, since you have shown the language options, including all the local, Indian local languages, I would like to ask you to include Sinhala, since Tamil is already there. Sinhala is a predominant language spoken in Sri Lanka. Right. And most of the students are doing their research and sharing their research publications in that language. So in order to have them included in the NDLI, it would be much more grateful for us to have a singular option in your database. And second thing, you have already mentioned about the metadata and all other, it's a kind of hybridization of metadata standards to create your platform. So I'm wondering, sorry if it sounds silly, I'm wondering, would it be compatible with our institutional repository standards, in case we are sharing our contents with yours? Then the contribution to NDLI, would it be a simple process by registering on the site, or should there be any MOUs to be signed to enter into that collaboration? And the final concern or the question is, it would be a great initiative for the regional libraries or the educational institutions to control or mitigate plagiarism, predatory journals, and fake science, because most cases, those present tremendous or serious impact, negative impact on progressive science, as well as the building up of knowledge corpus. So these are my ideas on behalf of University of Colombo. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Professor Das, would we like to take these questions now, or do you?
No, let us take the questions now. Let's not.
Sure.
We'll forget the context. So in that way, maybe others also may have these similar questions. Perfect. So Anirban, all that I'll need is I need the questions one by one. Yes. I was keeping track, but then I'm getting old.
No problem. I've made a note. So the first point raised was whether we could possibly include Sinhala as a language for our interface.
That's we will need help. That is a basic. I was just quickly doing a search on NDL. I do not know, but this content is listed in our collection as a Sinhala content. Just randomly I searched. So this comes from Storyweaver. Is it Sinhala content? Does it look like, sir?
Yeah? Yes, it's Sinhala.
So I'm sure we'll content-wise we'll find many more in this way, because we don't make any language restriction. I mean, we are open for languages for this. But your specific question is whether there can be user interface on Sinhala. Yeah, Sinhala is naturally you will have to help. See, we don't, and specifically we come from the eastern part of the country. So even Tamil we had to get done through our friends in Tamil Nadu, and every language has been done by a collaborator. So once you can help us, we will certainly, because putting this in terms of, you have certain things like Unicode conventions and all that, which makes putting any language script on an interface easy once I know how to translate. Like search, what will search be called in Sinhala language? So that part you'll have to help with. So if you agree to provide that help, we will certainly work on it and get it done.
Yes, there are experts here like Mr. Hetiaraji, the acting librarian from Ruhuna University. Right. So people alike would collaborate with you and help
so that is the help that we will need. But we will be open to doing any language whatsoever. The reason we are kind of took a lot of time to get to 10 is, it is a painstaking work to help in this translation process. So, experts do take time, and without the experts, we cannot do anything, because other than, I'm good in Bangla and English. I am broken in Hindi and I don't understand any other. And that's the case of most of my colleagues around here, but with your help, we will get it done. Yeah, yes, Anirban, the next question.
The next question was, since we use a hybrid metadata standard, what is the interoperability? Is it going to be compatible with their metadata?
Yes. That will be, because certainly this we have about 350 partners. So you can understand that how many this cross metadata bridges we had to already cross over. So we have a very standardized mechanism in terms of how do we map any given practice of a metadata to our standard, and how on the fly we do that translation of fields and so on. So it depends. If you are using something like Dublin code and so on, it will be easier. If you are using something very, very different, customized, then it might take a little bit of effort, but it can be done. We are not concerned about all those. Those are all technical issues, and there are technical people who will help you solve those problems from our end. Okay.
The third question was whether an MOU will be required when we get into a collaboration or partnership.
Certain kind of documents will be required, obviously, for the partnership for a couple of reasons. One is certainly when you integrate with your institutional digital repository and carry those contents here, we need your consent that we are allowed to carry those and take it to the world. And, we might do things beyond that, like working on the language user interface together and so on. So we needed MOU, but we try to keep the MOU very simple, not make it, so difficult that it has to go to our Ministry of External Affairs, your Ministry of External Affairs, and then Prime Minister have to shake hand and sign that. We don't take it to a level where the whole time goes in MOU itself, no work happens. So we'll do a very simple kind of letter of understanding. Anirban, Mr. Nand, they will help you in that process, and we should be good to go. But something of a baseline we do need.
Right. And the final question was, if I understood the question rightly, what we're trying to say here is it's becoming increasingly important to control and check for plagiarism. And there is a strong threat from predatory journals, right?
So I was curious.
Control the risk of predatory journals within our repositories.
See, we really do not directly work on this because it is not possible for a library to become a checker. See, this kind of plagiarism is a publishing domain issue. It's not a library domain issue. I mean, we have to be conscious about it, but libraries cannot really check that. So the principle that we follow, that we normally partner with very reputed institutions who themselves are doing this check, or who in turn only work with the reputed organization. So for example, when it comes to partnering with publishers, we don't talk about any publisher. We are talking about IEEE, we are talking about Springer and so on. So those kind of publishers, we will, I mean, those who publish predatory journals and all, we will not even talk to them. And when we talk with institutions, it is institutions like yours and ours. So where I'm sure we all are trying to take that care. But if you ask me specifically, if we have a screening process, it's not possible. I mean, if we have to screen for all content that might pass through this, then certainly we will not be able to scale up. So the policy that we take, that it's a policy of first removal, that if somebody reports that there is some plagiarized content, then first we remove it, then we get into the scrutiny, and after scrutiny, if it is found to be plagiarized, we'll permanently remove, or if it is verified, then we'll bring it back. That's the kind of strategy, but that's a more workable strategy. There are different work groups in our Ministry of Education, who are working on these issues of plagiarism check for contents authored from India and so on. But NDLI as a digital library project is not involved with that. I am at a personal level, I'm somewhat involved with some of these activities, but not in this portfolio. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Does that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. I mean, this is a very interesting. I mean, very clearly, you are a senior assistant librarian, so you have been tracking things very closely, and I can see I have not been able to see you on video, but your profile photo shows you are a very handsome, young, dynamic person. So
thank you,
very
sir.
right. Oh, you are younger than I thought.
Yeah, I try to look young.
Okay, Anirban, let's go ahead.
Thank you. Yes.
Hello, excuse me. To be formal, can I, on behalf of University of Colombo,
absolutely,
just briefly introduce about the university and the platforms we have in digital format? Yes. University of Colombo has 9 faculties. We have 9 faculties, and recently we will get another faculty too. And about the library network, we have the main library and 5 other faculty libraries. Altogether creates the library network. So talking about the digital platforms, we have our institutional repository, and we have a past paper collection in digital format. And as Mr. Rifaudin said, we have a rare collection, but at the moment we have not make it digital, but we are in the process of making it digital. So those are the platforms we have in digital format. And can I just go through the institutional repository of University of Colombo?
Yes, ma'am. Briefly, if you could very quickly take us.
Yeah, sure. To start from the purpose, the purpose of this repository is basically to provide the university community an opportunity to share their material, their knowledge with other people, locally and globally. So it go par with the university goals by increasing the visibility of the university and sharing the knowledge. So the institutional repository of University of Colombo is built up on these ways, open source software. And we are very young. At the moment, we have only about 5,000 records in it. And it is open access via the university library website. You can access the institutional repository. And we have all 3 languages used in our country. It's Sinhala, Tamil, and English. And when talking about the content, we accept all the forms and formats of material. Basically, we have articles, different kind of reports, working papers, conference papers, audio, video files like PDFs and other learning material, and thesis of postgraduate students. So the past papers are not included here because we have a different separate database for past papers. And since we have started in 2012, during this journey, we have lots of challenges. Sometimes there were problems with these copyright policies and copyright issues, and we have these acceptance problems that they have not valued the institutional repository as an archival alert, but we managed to solve all these problems, and now we are running smoothly. For example, now we have provided them the self-uploading facility, so they have to communicate with their publishers and get the consent to self-archive. And we need a disclaimer that saying that there is no any policy breaches. So then we will upload the publish the material. And how to access? So this is a library website. And this is the URL. I think you have been given this by the Vice Chancellor, Madam. And from this link, we can go inside the repository. And this is the repository front page. Here we have provided all the information about these copyright policies and how to self-upload their material into the repository, and also some external links from other universities too, and some other institutes. And here we have these communities. We have 15 communities. Basically, these communities are built up according to faculties, Faculty of Science and other 9 faculties. But we have some specific communities too, like annual research symposium, where we upload all the symposium proceedings into this community. And we have this blended learning. There we have this blended learning material, teaching material. Like it's a new community, and we have this one community for undergraduates also, undergraduate research symposium community, and this postgraduate research community that includes all the masters, PhDs, and MPhil theses in this community. And here we can, this database can be searched using all the fields. We use Dublin Co by like author, subject, publishing date, and other keywords, etc. So it can be searched by all these fields. And when we go inside these communities, we have collections. Basically, these collections are according to the departments. And as in communities, we have some special collections too. So this number denotes the number of publications included in these communities and in these collections. And when we go inside the collections, we have these records. And when we click on it, it will show the metadata. And from that, we can go inside the publication and we can do the referencing. So this is the basics of the repository and how to access it. And for future advancement with the deputy librarian, we are doing a project on how to enhance this the repository furthermore. So we are discussing to include many other information into it and increase the visibility. As Mr. Rifaudin said, yes, we may have to contact you to get help on developing this in a more advanced manner. And yes, this is basically about the repository. Yes. That's it. So you can go to our repository and you can just have a look on it. I think Mr. Anirban, you are muted.
Yes, I was just saying thank you. You're absolutely right. The Honorable Vice Chancellor had in fact shared the link, yes, but we haven't had a chance to go through it in detail yet. So we will definitely do that now.
Sure. Thank you.
And
I think very interesting collections, and it would be really nice to collaborate and integrate together.
Yeah, there's wonderful collections we love to integrate. All right. Thank you to the University of Colombo. We will now move on to the University of Ruhuna. and Professor Vasanta Kumara, if you'd like to take over. And I think you mentioned you had a presentation also.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ivan. We have a presentation, but probably I will skip some of the slides that only to focus on the topic. Initially I thought that we would have some better detailed introduction to the university, but maybe we will make it shorter. I hope you can now see the
Yes, yes, we can see.
Okay, right. Okay, let me go to this one, the introduction to the University of Ruhuna. So this probably I will skip. We have 16 national universities where University of Ruhuna is one of them, as we are in the southern, deep south in Sri Lanka. So it was started in 1978, and this is the bird eye view of the university. Probably these are very unique architectural design by famous Mr. Jeffrey Bawa. In the university, we have 10 faculties. I think we have the highest faculties in the state universities of Sri Lanka at the moment, including agriculture, allied health, engineering, fisheries, humanities, management, medicine, science, and graduate studies, as well as faculty of technology. And main campus located in Mathura. We have around 10,000 student population, internal students, and there's a double of students as well. They are like external students, and most of the students are in social sciences area, as you can see here. And also the academic staff, we have a good number of academic staff. And university has become one of the leading research university in Sri Lanka and ranking #1 in 2018. I think we are still maintained in this situation even at this moment. I may skip these slides that I thought initially shared with you, but to focus more on this. Okay. This is, so we have a lot of international conferences. This probably would be interested to you, and because number of proceedings and are generated every year, like agriculture, management, and fisheries and marine sciences, engineering, medicine, and they are well reputed in Sri Lanka. And we have a number of collaborations leading to around maybe 100 at the moment. And probably this is one of the big collaboration we had with the Indian government, and one of the biggest in Sri Lanka, in the Sri Lankan universities. We have got a donation from Indian government to name the great Rabindranath Tagore. This is called Rabindranath Tagore Auditorium and declared open in 2018. It's a massive auditorium capacity with the capacity of around more than 1,500 seating capacity. And then we have a lot of collaborations and research one, even for example, we have Erasmus Plus programs. We have one this time, and I think 3 already got it's a massive grants to upgrade University of Ruhuna and its number of research capacities. Data Sri Lanka project. These are named to few. So this is probably what we would like to highlight with you. The library collection we have in 4 categories, like in the main library collection, it contains around 300,000 books. And then we have legal deposit collection. I will come back to this one, contain nearly 300,000 books and other publications. And periodical section, we have around 300 printed titles and 6 online databases contributing. And also multimedia collection, which consists of CDs, DVDs, audiobooks, and even VHS nobody is using nowadays, but we do have this in our library collection. And this is one of the key points we want to highlight. The University of Ruhuna is the 5th institution in Sri Lanka, which and the second university that maintains legal deposit, which the data has been published in Sri Lanka. as per the Intellectual Property Act 52, 1979. So we are maintaining this. It covers, I think, at the moment around 300,000, and this is increased every year, contributing nearly 5,000 new collections annually. So that, but unfortunately, these are not digitized. They are only, we have in-house access, but this has been put in the catalogs of University of Ruhuna. An institutional repository consists of theses and dissertations and some research publications, and then past examination papers. Normally, this is with the permission needed, and also university publications like all the symposia, books, and many more things. And also we do have library bibliographic databases where university library, we have the core collection. This includes bibliographic information of all the printed materials in the library system, and also legal deposit collection. And then we do have article collection. This consists of bibliographic information of the articles published by academic staff, and these are can be accessed. And just to show you the library use database, we have the main campus. It's around well 6,000 users, and we have other faculty libraries. They do have access for the faculty, staff, and students. I think we have our library staff. Probably they will give more information and detailed information about the platforms and other things used in our library collections during the discussion. Since I'm basically on international promotions, international office, and yeah. But with this collaboration, we probably would like to access, like to have these collaborations as much as possible. For example, full access to all the contents of NDLI. I think this is possible, as I learned from you in your presentations without charge. And then maybe hardware or software support, and also skill development to digitize library materials. We are doing very slowly, but I think we need to speed up and then do more and more digitizing for the benefit of the users. And then we also would like to collaborate, as I see in your collaborative levels, level 3, where it can go for the deep collaboration. And probably we can initiate, or we can contribute to this collaboration, which probably would invite mutual benefits for the NDLI, NLDI, as well as the University of Ruhuna. So that's probably briefly about the University of Ruhuna and what things we have. During the discussion, probably we should be able to discuss more in detail. I hope this gives a little brief about the University of Ruhuna, Mr. Arindam.
Yes, absolutely, Professor Kumar. Thank you very much. And very good to know of your interest in collaborating with us, and that you've already identified a few specific areas where you think we could work together. All right.
And in terms of the collaboration, I mean, since you are probably talking about generically, but I must tell you that we can help you in terms of capacity building, in terms of giving you, kind of tricks of the trade, so to say, the know-how. We can certainly, I mean, you can use any NDL content that are open, like this 4.6 million content. You and, I mean, any of your students, staff, anybody from Sri Lanka can freely use them. You can certainly, we will expect that you will contribute your collections for integration in NDLI so that others can use it. But in terms of hardware, we probably cannot do any help. We do not have a budget to help in terms of hardware. In terms of software, maybe mostly we'll be able to help, because I mean, as policy, we do not use any software which is price. I mean, we use free software always, or rest of it we write. So I think this is what, so there is a, a lot of ground on which we have commonality, common interest, and we should be able to really work together and grow together. That's what I felt.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Das. It's a great news. I think we can go on very good collaboration in the future. And also, I like your idea that the MOUs and agreements probably should not go in that much big level, because we are experiencing that the government the approvals, it takes more than 2 years. So by the time probably we have closed the university.
No, in the early stages of the project, we made those mistakes, and those collaborations never came out. So now we do not go to that depth at all.
Exactly.
It's far easier to start small, keep growing, and then we'll see.
You are right. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Professor Vasanta Kumara. And at this point, I'd also like to welcome Dr. Pradeepa Vijayatunge, who is the Chief Librarian of the University of Colombo. We will, come back to you, Dr. Vijayatunge, during the group discussion. For the moment, let us pass on to our next university.
Yes, yes, please.
Thank you so much for joining us, though, and for making the time. We know you're rather busy.
Thank you. And I'm sorry I got delayed. Yes. Thank you so much.
Not at all. All right. In that case, we can now move on to you, Dr. Prateepan, and Wellassa University. So if you could tell us a little about your university's e-repository and how you think we can work together.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving me this great opportunity to share about Wellassa University. Wellassa University is Sri Lanka's 14th national and youngest university of Sri Lanka. And here there are 4 faculties. One is Faculty of Management and Faculty of Agriculture and Faculty of Applied Sciences and Faculty of Technology. Then we have more than 160 academic staff members. And mostly our university is... Hello? That our agriculture faculty staff members, they are very good and very strong in research and publications, especially in internationally recognized journals indexed in Scopus and Science Citation Index, Social Science Citation Index, and Arts and Humanities Citation Index. So that our university started in 2006. So accordingly, that we have started our institutional repository in the year of 2018. Now we have a collection around 6,000. Recently we started to get and collect all the research publications which are indexed in Scopus and Web of Science, and especially that we collected the publications which are published in open access journal. And after that, what we did, we checked the open access policy, whether we can upload the full article into our institutional repository or not. That already we have completed. Now we are starting to upload with the metadata into our institutional repository. So out of that 150 staff members, 77 staff members of our university at least have one article indexed in Scopus and Web of Science databases. Apart from these research publications, every year we are organizing international conference. It is by the university. So that proceedings and abstracts, everything we are uploading into our institutional repository. In addition to that, we have 3 journals published by different faculties of our university. So all those contents also available online through our institutional repository. So when we received the invitation from this Indian Higher Education Ministry through Mr. Nirban, that Vice Chancellor has forwarded and he shown his interest to take a good initiative to collaborate with National Digital Library of India to collaborate collaborate R&D development and to explore the different experience from National Digital Library of India. He is very much interested, and personally he asked us to take initiative to sign MOU or to collaborate with the National Digital Library of India. That I know when I was in India, that the project was started. So now the National Digital Library of India considered is one of the richest digital library in the world. So it is really a very good opportunity even to Sri Lanka to collaborate with the National Digital Library Project of India, to collaborate and to enhance the visibility of our universities as well. And that I have seen that seen the expected outcomes of this project. There are 4 expected outcomes that can be achieved. I think personally I can say on behalf of the university even, there is no barriers and all the expected outcomes will be achieved. That I am very sure. And that all of our contents, possible contents restricted the subject to some contents that may not be shared, but except those we will be able to share the metadata and content, and we can give the link with National Digital Library Project of India, and we can give the link of NDL of India in our website as well. So this is a very interesting and important project that Mr. Anirban initiated. Thank you very much, Mr. Anirban, that our institutional repository and all the detail, everything is available in our website. Then personally, I will share all those information to your email. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, absolutely fantastic, Dr. Prathipan, and thank you for those encouraging words and your appreciation of the NDLI. We would also be very, very happy to work with you and your university. And of course, I mean, thank you for mentioning your interest in integrating contents with us. That's something we are always looking to do.
So certainly, we will do that for all the universities,
yeah.
Certainly.
Right.
And one more thing I wanted to add is now we are only 4 universities connected already, but in Sri Lanka under the University Grant Commissions there are 15 universities. Yeah. Out of these 15 universities, 13-14 universities already established institutional repository using DSpace. So that's for information, sir. Thanks a lot.
Yes, you will be pleased to know that we have in fact reached out to all the other universities under the UGC, and 2 of them unfortunately couldn't come on board for today's meeting. They had other commitments this evening, but we gradually intend to have similar meetings with the other universities also and begin to work with them.
Surely.
Thank you for that. All right, now we can move on to the third and final segment of our meeting then, which is the group discussion, if that's all right with you. And here, if I might share a slide, which we can just use as a sort of discussion slide for the group for this segment. All right, I would like to share the screen. Right. I hope you can see this. Is this visible?
Yes, Anirban. It is visible.
Okay, thank you. Now, we've actually touched upon all these points in the course of our discussion today. All right, but this is just something to help structure the remaining part of our deliberations, right? So when we usually think of collaborations in terms of 3 levels of engagement. And this will already be a little familiar to you from some of the documents we've shared with you before today's meeting. The first level is what we call user engagement. So here, the main objective is, of course, to offer full access to the NDLI and its resources, and to encourage the faculty and students of your universities to begin to use the NDLI, right? So to make this happen, typically we request each university for a list of names and email addresses of all your faculty and students. Using those details, we then enable the registration of your university, right? So all these users become registered users. And once they've had a chance to become a little familiar with the NDLI platform, we can organize a user awareness webinar, which is basically like a demo workshop, somewhat like the very brief presentation that Professor Parthapratim Das just made, where we actually take users through the different functions of the NDLI website, how they can use the search filters, etc. After that, after this registration and this user engagement process, we do expect that most of your users, most of your university members will be able to start freely using the NDLI to their advantage. And one thing we also encourage universities to do is what Dr. Prathipan in fact just mentioned, this business of carrying the NDLI link on your website. So within your e-repository or on your library pages, you could actually carry the NDLI link directly. That builds greater awareness about the NDLI, right? So that is how we go about user engagement. At the second level, we go in for content sharing. And this is something we've already described to you in some detail earlier in this meeting, which is we do not integrate contents themselves. We actually integrate simply the metadata of your contents, right? And the NDLI, of course, is primarily an educational platform, but there is a strong cultural heritage vertical also building up. So we would be very keen, we would, invite all of you to share some of your academic and educational resources, any other unique digital e-collections that you might have, and also certain national heritage collections, which are significant from a Sri Lankan or an Indo-Sri Lankan or a South Asian perspective. These are all things that we would like very much to integrate within the NDLI. And what are the benefits of this? First, of course, NDLI users everywhere will have access to a much wider range of educational research and heritage contents. And for your contents as well, there will actually be much greater visibility, reach, and use, because we do have a registered user base of more than 3 million users. On average, more than 100,000 people view and download documents from the NDLI every day. So these contents will actually be viewed by probably more users also, right? The third level is deep collaboration. And this could take a number of forms, and these are typically slightly longer term collaborations. Now, we're also very happy that each of you has shown an interest in capacity building support, technological support, etc., because these are precisely the kinds of things we do under deep collaboration, right? So we would be very happy to help out with digital library development, helping some of you develop your repositories further, sharing knowledge, technology, software. One of you talked about that, transferring technology, etc. So, and of course, in time, this is likely to lead to joint projects, joint research, which we would also be very happy to undertake. So these are the three areas that we see as possible collaborative areas. And if any of you have any further questions or comments to make about this, please go ahead. This is where we will address all your queries. And this is a very interactive session. So please feel free to sort of chip in. At this point, in fact, I could invite Dr. Vijay Tonge, because you haven't had a chance to participate yet, ma'am. We would like to hear from you.
Thank you so much. As our Vice Chancellor has informed you, sir, we have already linked NDLI website to our library website, where the resources databases are, so our users can I have gone through your database, which is excellent, and we were really impressed with the volume. Can I ask you what strategies you use to encourage your academics and other staff to upload the material to the repository.
All right. Professor Das, would you like to take that question?
Madam, there's a nice question. Normally, we do not rely on individuals because for the simple reason that it is very difficult to check the quality of the content. So our main strategy is to work with partners who have credibility, and all this big collection that you see has been built up through the partners primarily. So say your university becomes a partner of ours, then you will have your policy to integrate or let your contributors like your faculty, your students, your staff to upload content to your institutional digital repository. So we will rely on your credibility that whatever you are allowing to integrate is not plagiarized, it has the right quality, is not improper, and so on. And we go by that policy. And so far, for the last over 5 years that we have been around, that has stood us in good stead. I think we have had, in this whole period, we have had 3 or 4 complaints only, and that too one because of a publisher made a mistake. So that is, and we do allow, do consider private contribution if it comes from, very well-known teacher or, very well-known contributor. And in that case, we do engage, need to engage some subject matter review for that. But certainly it is not a scalable part of the process. You will see something like faculty contribution on our site. And as a source, you'll see faculty contribution. Those are contributed by not only faculty of IIT Kharagpur, but faculty of different institutions who have offered to share their videos or books, and we know them by their reputation, and we do integrate that. So it's a balance between being open and being proper in the scalable terms, and not to take the library to a major risk of something improper happening in terms of the content.
Right. The same thing is true with the copyright of the material getting uploaded.
Yes.
And am I right to believe that those who are responsible, the institutes responsible for their particular aspects are
yes. Institutes are responsible. They when they upload the content, and that is what we try to sign in our understanding, that when your university uploads content, the university has the copyright or the right kind of permissions to be able to do so and allow NDLI to disseminate it to the whole world. Yes.
Okay. Right.
That is a protocol, but because it's impossible to check things otherwise.
Yes. Thank you so much.
And for that, there have been several occasions where institutions themselves needed help. So we have had specific workshops on copyright as well. We are at a national level working on publishing a copyright manual for digital librarians so that they can get proper guidance, and that is being authored by really big copyright experts in India, including being reviewed by Supreme Court judges on this area and so on. So once it is published, that should happen very shortly. That will be available on our site, so you could use that, or if you want, we can have separate sessions of copyright for universities in Sri Lanka as well. But the responsibility will lie with the university who is sharing the content.
Sir, then I have a question.
Yes, please.
It is based on your presentation. Especially, it's about that, as you mentioned in your presentation, the national license journal content. That is possible via digital library of the National Digital Library of India. So let me know that what type of that and understand it is for understanding and to know what type of journals that you are giving access for users through.
These are not for journals, because journals in India come under a different organization called ESS, Ishod Sindhu, and that has a institutional subscription. So this is not for journals, this is for general interest contents like South Asia Archive. It's a very good collection in the domain of social sciences and history and so on. It's a privately curated content from the organization, and you will need to pay to access that content. So ministry has got into an agreement with that organization, Taylor and Francis to be specific, and made an arrangement so that ministry has is paying them the license fee, and any user request which goes from NDLI, which is coded by NDLI's passcode, will be allowed to be accessed without any fees. So that's the kind of mechanism. It does not,
So
the journals don't come as a part of this.
Then we can also access once we became the partner in this project. Am I correct, sir?
This is a recorded webinar, so I will skip this question. by legal legalities, it must be geofenced within India.
Yes, right.
But certainly you and I both understand that this kind of geofencing cannot work so easily.
Yes.
So probably it will work in Sri Lanka. I do not really know, because geofencing is done by a separate party.
Thank you, sir.
Professor Das.
Yes,
I just
sir.
want to add the same question, same line of discussion. I think I saw that there are certain amount of material available with the permission. So how does it work? Suppose that we don't have access to through the NDLI, and how do we have to subscribe to the materials, or we have to direct? For example, if the material available at Bangalore University, we have to, how does it?
Okay. So let me explain. I did not go through the details of access restriction types. So the 4.6 million we are talking of are green open lock, which are open and free. Anybody anywhere in the world can use it. Those which are subscribed is kind of a separate kind of lock, and they are written as subscribed, where you have to pay the publisher to access the content. We cannot do anything about that. But besides that, there are limited and authorized kind of access, where you will have to approach that respective university, say the Bangalore University or IISc, and they will allow you the access. Like, they don't charge anything, or they don't ask for anything, but they just want that before their content is accessed, they are approached for the content. It is that kind of a mechanism. Could I make it clear?
Do we have any
I
special
think
kind
that
of
then we have to have separate probably understandings with different entities.
It's not even understanding. I mean, it's sending a mail might just work. Or oftentimes what happens is when you go to the site, you'll say that it requires a login, and that login is free. So you have to do another login. So if you have to do another login, then according to our our understanding, it is not a open content. Open content must be free access. But it indeed is equivalent to open. But those vary between organizations. That's the reason their access are shown differently, so that you can understand.
Thank you.
Because actually, if you take all kinds of accesses, then our collection is about 60 million. So 14 million fall into these kind of different shades of accesses, including the national licensing. But 46 million fall in the open domain.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Officer Das?
Yes, madam.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Chiranti Vijayasundara from University of Colombo, actually. Actually, my research interest really connected with metadata aggregation and linked open data technologies.
I saw your chat message. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. And actually, this question is related to your presentation earlier. I am keen to know how you are doing this aggregation process and how you harvest metadata from other repositories.
Madam, I mean, there are more than hour-long presentation on that.
Yeah,
That's a lot of technology and there's a lot of research. What I did not talk about is the research that we do in these areas. Like we have more than 30 publications by now.
Okay.
In international, conferences like ICDL, JCDL, ICADL, we have 2 best paper awards and all that. So if you would like to get involved in that research, please write to me separately. I am part of that research partly, and there are colleagues who do deep research on that. So we will get connected, and it will be really excellent if we can collaborate in doing this research jointly together. I didn't talk about it because usually most people do not ask at this level. But metadata aggregation, particularly for metadata curation, we have a lot of automation systems that we have created. It's not only about metadata mapping, but it's also about metadata creation at times, which we automate to a significant level. It's about metadata curation, which is semi-automated. Like while curating, an automated system makes an assessment of how likely that this metadata is right or wrong, and gives a score. And if the score is say below 0.8 or something, then only a manual curator will look at it. Otherwise, it goes. So there are a lot of deep technologies, AI, machine learning, to different kind of NLP processing and ontological structuring that are involved. So if you are interested in those areas, please feel free to write to me, Nanda, separately. We will get you connected to these researchers, and you can take things forward with them.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
That would be really of great interest to us to have collaborators in research.
It's really nice to hear about your presentation today. Actually, this is something we are not talking very much. And the second question is about the repository we are using currently at the Colombo University. We are using DSpace, and as I know, it is using qualified Dublin Core. So is it interoperable with your repository? What is the interoperability level, sir? I mean,
see, madam, first of all, we have integrated 350 sources. So anything, anywhere, we make it interoperable in some way or other. But certainly DSpace helps because our core system also is DSpace. Our whole, what you saw is built on top of DSpace. DSpace is a backend engine, right? So it could be WAI, PMH kind of protocol. It could be a refinement of that. It could be some other protocol, but for every protocol we have support. Okay. And for specific case of your library, we will have to, every source we integrate with, we have to sit down with them, map the metadata use by the source and what we need in our standard, and work out, and then it goes into an automated script. It does not need to be done for every case, but you do a mapping, and you write translators which take this and puts that here. Okay. So for example, your system could be using a different date convention. You could be using MMDDYYYY, and I could be using DDMMYYYY, right? So it needs a conversion in the value, right? So there are different such things. Those are at the technical details level, but do not worry. Initially we used to get really scared with all this, but over the first 2 years, we solved all these low-level problems. And we are very confident that we'll be able to do this quite seamlessly. People are quite efficient, knowledgeable about this, and several automation processes already are in place. Right. Okay. So all that we need to work out is to agree to work together and integrate, and then it will the technical team will take over and get it done with you or your technical team.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir.
Okay. Any other questions? Anything else you'd like to ask?
Yes. Good evening. And this is about access to the restricted items. So you mentioned that there are free items available there. So how about, those free items means that, even without getting partnership with this digital library, people in anywhere can access to these open access.
Exactly. You can go just right now and access them.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
so how about, how about that the paid articles that
paid articles, I mean, it's between you and whoever the source is. So for the paid articles, the payment is at the source's end. Not you have nothing to do with ours. You'll get redirected to the sources page, and then you have to sort it out with the source. We are not involved in any payment. Our service is completely paid by the government, and it's free for everybody. So any content which is subscribed, access to that gets redirected to whoever is providing that content, and it's between the user and that content provider. Between them, the payment or whatever has to be worked out. So the way it works is in India, several institutions has institutional subscriptions. So if you use that from those institutional network based on your IP address, those institutions see those contents as accessible, whereas I see that as not accessible. Or maybe a professor of that institute in his office will see that as accessible, and back in his home will not be able to access it. So there could be different kind of mechanism for the subscription resolution, but it is always between the consumer of the content and the provider of the content. NDLI is just a conduit to integrate and find out that the content exists, and this is where you can find it. Okay. And when we talk about open and free content, no such restriction exists. You should be able to just go and use it. That's it. You don't even need to register, though we request that you register, because quality of service gets better. But even if you do not register, you are anywhere on earth, you come, if you have internet, come to NDLI site and access it, you'll be able to access it. That answers you, right, sir?
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, and any further questions? Otherwise, we can gradually bring this meeting to a close. All right, I think not. In which case, Professor Das, could we have a few concluding remarks from you about what you see as the way forward? Now that we have a clear idea from all
it's been a very encouraging meeting, and the 4 leading universities of Sri Lanka coming together and taking interest in working with NDLI is a great privilege for us. We are really been like, just to give you a genesis of this whole initiative, when we got started in 2015, after about 1.5 years, we were struggling with many of the questions that you are asking, and unfortunately we did not have anyone to get those answers from. That is a time when we got connected to the executive director of Europeana Library. At that time, she was Jill Cousins, who used to head. And Jill started helping us a lot. And then I learned that Europeana is a big initiative of the European Union, integrating digital libraries of more than 50 European countries. So from that time, and subsequently, we have had several occasions to collaborate with Europeana. We have lectured in Europeana. Europeana's current executive director also have lectured here in 2019. So from that point onwards, I have been having a vision that why not, if Europe can do that, we have a lot of strengths in South Asia. So why can't we get started? So we started talking about this SARC banner, and in December 2019, we did an international conference in Delhi, where first Anirban and others from UNESCO helped us to organize a SARC platform, and Sri Lanka also had participated. I'm forgetting the name of the person. But after that, unfortunately, in a couple of months, the pandemic happened and things, went south for everybody. So we are picking up from there, and our vision is to build up a strong collaboration of South Asian countries in terms of knowledge, and really, besides just integrating knowledge from the West, we have a lot of, traditional knowledge that is available in South Asia. There's a lot of cultural heritage. We would, over a period of time, create a platform to integrate and put that all together. So from that perspective, I do see collaboration with Sri Lanka a very important one. And certainly, it is great to know that all of you are already pretty advanced in the area, in the sense that you do have digital collections, you have these spaces, most of you have your idea, and it's just that last mile of integrating and putting it together and working together to make a bigger presence of South Asian institutes together. And I certainly look forward to that happening pretty soon. Anirban, Nand, Anonna, they will help you work through the initial agreement process and the technical processes and the stages as Anirban has described in the collaboration. So we can go through those stages. Even without doing anything, we can start working at usage level. That does not need any agreement, anything. So you can just send us your user list and we enroll them and they start using it. They will get to know. We can have user workshops and all that. And subsequently, we work on the content sharing side. And similarly, going forward, as Madam was mentioning, we could work on the advanced areas in joint research, joint development of repositories, and so on. So that is my feeling. And of course, I would like to take up that interface on Sinhala with the help of Mr. Ram, I think, and others, because those are really good value addition for such a collective effort of South Asia. So that is my overall feeling on it, Ban. It's really, we are grateful to this group who has spearheaded this. Once we go through this, then we will, there were talk about there are another 10 more universities at least who are already enabled. So once we go to the next stage in this collaboration, we will also connect to those as you are already connecting to some of them, must be, and take it forward at a regional level.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Professor Das. And the entire group, I think we now have a fairly clear idea what the next steps are going to be. And we're going to be in touch with each of you separately about that. As Professor Das mentioned, we can start with the user registration and the user engagement. That's the most basic level of engagement, really. We have a specific format for that, which we'll share with you tomorrow. And after that, we will then begin to work towards the content integration and further steps of deep collaboration. That's something all of you are interested in, so we're very glad to work with you on it. And well, thank you for an excellent meeting more broadly, because I don't think we expected such a large turnout, because we were initially talking to 3 or 4 of you. So we're very glad that your entire library teams, LIS teams, have come together for this joint venture. And that's very gratifying for all of us here. So we will be in touch with you very soon with next steps, and we will share these presentations with you. And yes, we would be very glad if you could actually share the presentations that you made today. Almost every university showed a PowerPoint. So if you could please send those to us, it's very useful for our reference also going forward. All right. So you will soon have the presentations, the minutes, etc. And then we'll take it step by step and head into this collaboration further. All right. So thank you very much to the entire group, and have a great evening. Right? Thank you once again.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. And it is really, we are really grateful for your presence, and we look forward to having a highly rewarding collaborated time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Yeah.
Bye.
Good night. Bye-bye.